Here at the offices of Scarce City. I am your host, Chris Tremount, Chief Executive Pleb at Scarce City. Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome back. We have an action-packed 2022 plan for you. This month is going to be absolutely crazy, and I'm really excited to kick it off with our first auction of the year, Genesis Cube by Adam Kadmon. Adam will be joining us here shortly to tell us about this beautiful piece and its tribute to the Genesis block 13 years ago yesterday, the perfect celebration of Bitcoin's birthday. Before we bring him on, I want to give you a quick rundown of how our auctions work. If it's your first time joining us here, the auction is live for bidding. It will be live for the next 48 hours. If you want to place a bid, come down, input how much you want to bid in sats. We got a bunch of arrows here to make it easy for you. You just press some buttons. You don't have to put in any numbers or any of that. We do the math for you. We tell you how much USD you're bidding, and we tell you how much collateral you'll have to put down with your bid. It's about 1%. This is what keeps you accountable for your bid should you win. Other than that, we just need your email address. It can be any email address, just some way to get in touch with you and verify that you are the winner. If it's your first time inputting a bid with us, you will also input a display name. That's what shows up in the bid table with your bid. If you're serious about this thing and you don't want to put down a deposit with every single bid, I suggest you register real quick here. Put down a one-time deposit of 500,000 sats, or at the current conversion, 230 USD. And that will unlock unlimited bids for you for the duration of the auction. You can input however many bids you want at whatever price you want, and you will not have to put down any additional deposits with those bids. What else? Other than that, jump into the Scarce City Banter Telegram channel. If you have any questions, we're happy to walk you through everything there, and you get all of the auction updates in that channel. So with that, and without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and welcome on our very special guest, Adam. Adam, how are you?
Hey, Chris. Nice meeting you.
Yeah, it's great to meet you. Finally, we've interacted so much through the chats over the past few months, and it's our first time getting the opportunity to speak together. So I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, I'm exciting too myself.
Awesome, man. Well, let's just kick it off with the general background, because I'm really curious. I don't know much about your background, so take us back. Whether it's with your art or with Bitcoin, how did you get into each, and how did the two paths cross?
Yeah. Well, I've been doing art all my life. I study arts in high school. Then I continue my education in one of the few art universities here, where I studied mural arts and finished my master degree in mosaics in Italy. And after my graduation, I was sure that I don't want to work in the system. I was looking for ways to be as independent as possible, and I start creating art objects and sell them on Etsy. Yeah, I really enjoyed playing computer games while growing up, so I decided to combine those passions of mine and start creating games fan art. And it was very hard in the beginning, and soon after I ran out of savings, so needed to start an ordinary job again so I could buy materials and continue creating. And I started as a seller in antique shop. That was in the spring of 2016,
Okay.
when I already have heard of Bitcoin. One day at the shop, I saw Bitcoin sponsored faucet advertised in Facebook.
Okay.
And I immediately denied that this could be something important as technology. I just saw it as some kind of a scam to get into your computer by clicking some images and links. And I just didn't believe that anything that's sponsored, especially if it's promoted as world changer. So after that, I forgot about Bitcoin,
Hmm.
and that was until great winter of 2017 when my girlfriend told me one day, "Hey, why don't you read about Bitcoin? It should be interesting for you because it's matching my zodiac sign or something." And I didn't take her seriously back then, but soon after that, maybe around December, we went to a party, and I start conversation with a guy who was start explaining me about this new Bitcoin called XRP. And yeah, and that the Bitcoin was already old technology, and the new Bitcoin is XRP. So I was interested, and from the end of December to around mid-February, I only read and watched videos about Bitcoin. Got
Yeah.
into Bitcoin forums, just started absorbing information about it. Uh, was watching videos for about 8 hours a day, and just fall off into the rabbit hole at that point. And but I understood that XRP is not the new Bitcoin after a week or so.
Yeah.
So didn't know what this guy was up to. But yeah, from end of December, I start my journey. I must, I can say. But my first sale for Bitcoin was made on Open Bazaar platform,
Mm.
more specifically the phone version, Heaven. Maybe you know who Brian Hoffman is. You heard of him.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah, and I made two sales on Bitcoin related items back then, as I prepared some designs just for the platform, because before that I was doing only game related stuff.
Yeah.
And the third sale was for Brian himself.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was very surprising, and it was a huge milestone for me as a Bitcoin artist.
Of course.
Something really crazy. And I made him a wooden Fortnite map for his kit. And after
Sorry.
I made
Say that again. You made him a wooden what for his kid?
Fortnite map, it's a
Ah.
game, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe
Cool.
you know it,
Yeah.
maybe you
Yeah. Of
don't.
course. Of course.
Yeah. And after I made a listing of it on Etsy, and they delisted it in the day after because intellectual properties.
Mm.
So this Fortnite map is still one of a kind. And these constant problems with the centralized platforms push me to think more into the Bitcoin art space. As its decentralized nature, nobody can say you what you can and what you can't create. You're absolutely free to express yourself in the space. And that was the force that pushed me more into the space. At first, it was the idea to invest, but as an artist, I didn't have big income and just didn't believe I can sell my works for Bitcoin back then. My short experience on Heaven after it was shut down as they ran out of money changed this, and especially the sale I made to Brian itself. This thing released me from the box and made me believe that maybe it's possible to sell my art for Bitcoin. And from that point, I must say, I can say that I begin my journey more into the space and art specifically.
That's fascinating. I had no idea of your background, and it makes me want to go back and find your previous works, your video game art, your Fortnite tribute art. And it's just I'm struck by your range as an artist. I assume you're a strong digital artist, but you also mentioned you studied mosaics, and of course,
Yeah.
I know you from your laser cutting work, which is just absolutely amazing. But that's very cool to hear how many
Yeah,
different disciplines of art you've been involved with.
yeah, it evolved during the years. Mm, when I start with Etsy, I didn't even start with laser cutting. I
Yeah.
was doing separately things, sculptures, and even paintings, pyrography.
Wow.
I try a lot of things during the
So
years.
do you feel like you're dedicated to the laser cutting now, or do you still like to do the different other techniques?
For sure, the laser cutting give me a lot of freedom, and uh, he helped me to create things that I wouldn't think I could create if
Yeah.
it was the technology. So I enjoy it very much.
Yeah, it's
This way.
amazing. I've only learned about laser cutting through Scarce City because so many of our artists are just amazing laser cutters. Chief Monkey, Fractal, and Crypt, to name a couple. And it's just, yeah, I'm just constantly blown away by the creations that you all can create through laser cutting. And I think someone mentioned it at some point that there's like all this hype around 3D printing, but laser cutting is really kind of like the lesser known, less hyped up, um, you know,
Yeah,
technology enabled technique that just unlocks, you know, incredible power.
yeah. And the way of creating the laser cutting is a lot of different. Besides, they are similar to one another. You need to think. You need to create the design two-dimensional, but all the time you need to have in your mind the three-dimensional looking
Mm,
of the project.
yeah. Yeah, I imagine your experience as a digital artist for video games comes into play when designing the laser cut work.
Well, I never worked as a designer for video games. It was fan art, physical items for video
Oh,
games. Yeah,
oh, interesting.
yeah.
How does that work?
Well, how we take, for example, World of Warcraft
Yeah.
and all the continents there, Easter Kingdoms, calendar, and I just make them 3D maps of the continents.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Oh, okay. I understand. So similar to what you did with Fortnite, it's a tribute to the video game fine art. That's a tribute to the video game. Do I have that right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Very cool. All right. Cool, man. Well, let's talk about the Genesis Cube. What's the story behind this thing?
The story is reaching far back because the Genesis Cube is an idea for more than a year, and the first design of it was done even before I started designing the Bitcoin religion panel.
Hmm.
But I've got limitations with my laser machine at the time. The machine I've got was small, and I needed to pay to a third party to cut the layers. And of course, that was not an option for me. This would mean to give the private key to a third party, hoping that we'll delete it eventually. So after my two Bitcoin religion panels were sold, I was able to get the bigger machine, and I really realized the design for the Genesis Cube. But after I reopened the file after a year, I didn't find it that good. And basically, have redone 80% of the design before the final result, which you see.
Okay. So you started, you did 80% of it about a year ago, and then you picked it back up. And
No, no. The design was ready maybe around a year ago, and
okay.
most recently before 2 months when I reopened the file to cut it, it was appear not so well, which is good because it's uh, maybe I'm grow up as an artist and didn't like my job a year ago. So
Yeah, I think that's a sign of any progress, right? It's like as much as it can make you cringe to look back on your past work, if you're not cringing on your past work, then you're probably not advancing enough.
yeah, it's really important to to have to save your past works even when you are at the beginning. It's really nice when you can see the progress and you know you're on the right road.
For sure. Tell me about the inspiration for the piece. Like, why did you decide to create it?
Well, the it's pretty fundamental part from the story of Bitcoin, and I think it's something that worth creating and dedicating a work to. Uh, Without this start and the message inside it, uh, everything have a start.
Yeah. Yeah.
This was just important. I see it as an important part.
For sure. Let's talk through the design, because there's a lot going on here, and I really want I'd love for you to unpack it for us. So tell us about the design, and how you decided to create it in this way. Like, what aspects of the design tie back to the original Genesis block? Like, what were you thinking as you were designing this?
Yeah, but well, in my head, the blockchain is chain of blocks,
Mm,
and I wanted to present the block in somehow three-dimensional way, because when you look this hexagram, uh, you see it like two-dimensional, but you can imagine it like a three-dimensional, like a
hmm.
cube,
Yep, I see
like
it.
three
Yeah,
three sides of the cube. And
absolutely.
I wanted to embed that quote from the Times in the heart of the cube. It's it's like something. It's like its heartbeat. I see it as important part from the Genesis block.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, it's something I have to ask you here. I noticed that there's a question mark at the end of the Times quote in your piece. Uh,
Yeah.
why is that?
Well, I like the hidden messages into my works,
Uh huh.
and I think if you see an artwork and instantly understand all that the artist wanted to say, it's a job bad done. I also wanted to push the observer into thinking and asking questions. And even the most trivial one, how did he do this? This is the ground floor for me. The real questions are related with the socium for me. In what system are we living, and are we heading to the right directions? And about the Genesis cube, you can see the question mark there in the center, and it is addressed to the observer. Also, I hit several other things like name of the work, the block on which the panel was officially finished, and my name.
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose only the buyer will find them out. And eventually, oh, one more thing that will be revealed only to the buyer is the hidden functionality of the work. It's not supposed to know by everyone, so it could be revealed only to the buyer itself. But the question is maybe to think about this quote from the Times, what it
Mm-hmm.
means when you're not familiar with something and see a question about it. Maybe you can go and check why he put this
Mm-hmm.
quote,
Yeah.
what stands behind it, what he mean with this.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Very interesting. I'm like fascinated flipping through these pictures because there's just so many intricate details to this. Can you tell me how many layers this consists of?
There are 10 layers.
10 layers.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. So the buyer of this, they have some fun hidden messages, some Easter eggs to look forward to uncovering
Yeah.
once they have the physical piece. It adds a nice suspense to the auction.
Yeah, I figured it out also. It will
Maybe
be
they'll
cool.
be maybe they'll be kind enough to tweet out some of the secrets they find as they have it in their hands, and we can all find out about it together.
I see the Genesis block itself like a very mystery event and wanted to put something from that mystery into the work.
Yeah, I love that parallel. And this is a series, right? This is the first of a series. Do you want to tell us about the series you have in mind, and I guess obviously how this fits into it?
Sure. The series, the first of all, I value the uniqueness of art objects, and my goal is to be able to sell one of a kind panels, and still worth all the efforts doing it, and make it a lot of sense. The panel dedicated to the Genesis block to be one of a kind, but at the same time, there's this uncertainty that it may go for a lot lower than you think would be valued. And if it does, and you spend a month for design and one more for redoing it and buying the materials and put it all together for 3 months of total, and in the end it goes for less that you think would be and go and sell only one piece of it, you will be artistically fulfilled, but financially screwed.
Yeah.
So I decided to make the Genesis Cube part of a series halving box that will be total of 4 cube panels, from with which the Genesis Cube is the first one. And the second one will be dedicated to the block number 210,000 when
Hmm.
the first halving happened, and so on, do the rest.
Yeah.
And all of them will be use the same design, but every next will have its own features and will be more complex than the previous.
Mm.
That way, I want to present the idea that they belong to one chain of cubes, but at the same time, every single is very different from others. And even when I think about it, maybe it will be cool to auction them at the days when the halvings happened, just like
Mm.
I tried to auction the Genesis cube close to the actual date of mining the block.
Sure. Sure.
And yeah, that way I will use the design 3 more times, but we'll upgrade it a lot. Maybe they will not look like each other at all. I don't know yet.
Okay, so three more designs from past halvings, but of course we have many halvings to go.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
looking
looking
up
for
right
it.
now. I don't know how many halvings are programmed into Bitcoin. Do you know off the top of your head?
Uh, it's something like 33 in my head, but I'm not sure.
That would be a pretty magical number, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it
Yeah,
pops in my head because I just yesterday or day after I saw this spreadsheet from the fractals node
yeah.
with the 3, 6, and the 9's magical numbers, and uh, the tweet was from someone that have this spreadsheet of how many halvings, how many bitcoins like rewards, and so on. But I may be wrong.
Okay. Yeah, this is it's some homework for me now. Now I'm super curious. I'm doing some Google searching, but it's not coming up very quickly.
I think they are 33, but in the protocol itself, it's written like 64. But I may be talking bullshits now. I don't know.
Okay. All right, we'll have to check it out.
I
All
think
right.
there were a mystery with this
I,
this
I, lo-
halvings.
I love the concept here of creating a limit to the series that's tethered to the Bitcoin network, the Bitcoin blockchain. It's a very elegant way to do it, and it's done. It's done through time, right? Like, I assume you wouldn't create works for future halvings. I would think you'd want to wait until those halvings happen. So you're kind of constrained, not only in like the total number of works you create, but also the number of works you create at a certain time period. It's
Yeah,
it's a really interesting dynamic.
I want to work around all my projects around this around the blockchain to
Yeah,
have this limit of time and number of works.
awesome, man. All right. Well, I feel like that covers a lot of what I wanted to talk about with the Genesis Cube and what you have planned for the series. Is there anything else that I left out?
Well, about the cube, about the panel, nothing in my mind right now.
Well, let's talk about what else you have planned with your artwork. Obviously, you have a rich history of artwork, and you have your work cut out for you with this series. Is there anything else that you're working on or thinking about?
Well, yeah. Besides the halving block series, I've been working on one more big project that is almost done, but it's on hold for now. And also, I run a Bitcoin board game idea from a year and a half in my spare time, but I don't have so much of it, so it's a project for the distant future.
Hmm,
Yeah.
that would be fascinating. Done through laser cutting, I assume.
No, it will
Okay.
be Carter related.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
All right, that's fascinating, man. We're gonna have to follow along and see what you're up to here. Um, what else is on your mind, Adam? What gets you excited these days? What are you thinking about?
Well, these days I think about freedom, and I've got into Bitcoin because of the lack of freedom on so many levels of my life.
Mm,
And my goal is to have the opportunity to spread awareness about Bitcoin. Wanted to start a campaign similar to what cryptography is doing with the BTC versus FED, but on local level. And in fact, I was at a birthday party yesterday and found myself explaining what this technology is giving us to a guy.
mm-hmm,
And every time is the same.
mm,
We are so early, and
mm-hmm,
people don't know what the money is, don't know want don't want to understand that after the World War One, we are living in a government money experience.
Hmm.
Uh, I want to have the opportunity to make the bigger impact for everyday people, embracing the idea of Bitcoin. And you can always just talk to people, but chance of listening is very small if they are not ready.
Yeah, yeah, well put. I completely identify with that. I mean, you just look around everywhere and you see basic freedoms being taken away. Obviously in some areas more than others. Um, and once you've kind of discovered what Bitcoin is about, it's about financial freedom. That becomes, the flagpole for freedom for you, and it's always just a constant reminder of, no matter what is going on in the world, as long as you can access the Bitcoin network, that's a freedom that can't be taken away from you.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's definitely something that, it's especially important to be grateful for that, and there's no better time to celebrate that freedom, because it's one of the few we have these days, it seems like.
For sure. And it will be very nice if more people look around themselves and just see the path that this peaceful revolution can take us. So,
Absolutely, yeah, I completely agree. Well, Adam, I really appreciate you taking us through this. I'd love to hear about your background, and I'd love to hear about everything you have uh, created for us here in the Genesis Cube. It's a beautiful tribute to the 13th birthday of the Genesis block, and perfect timing
yeah.
to release this. So very cool work you've created for us. Before we let you go, where can people follow your work and stay in tune with what you're up to?
Well, for now, just on Twitter, and I have a plans for a website in the future, maybe this year, maybe next. We will see.
All right, great. And your Twitter here is linked on the auction page if anyone is watching. Adam Kadmon 55 looks like.
Yeah,
Many beautiful posts of your this work and previous works, and I assume everything will be going there. So that's a great place to follow along until you get that website up. Adam, thank you so much for joining us. Best of luck with this auction. We look forward to following along and
yeah.
talking with you soon.
Thank you too, Chris. You've been awesome all the all the time, all the times.
The
And
pleasure is all mine, Adam. It's artists like you that make this, so fun to do. So I really appreciate everything you do.
thank you. It's the same from my side.
All right, buddy. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, let's check in on the auction. We've had a few bids come through. Currently, it is Mars who is on top with a bid of 1.6 million sats, 0.016 BTC, or 740 USD. Still 47 hours and 24 minutes to go on this, so plenty of time to see the free markets decide what they want the Bitcoin Cube to be worth. Very strong bidders have shown their appreciation for this work. Mars, big time scarcity bidder. Cryptograffiti, the ultimate stamp of approval. Bazik, another iconic collector. BitPaint, Ivan DF. Love to see these real Bitcoiners bidding on real Bitcoin art. If you have any questions on how to participate, again, get into the Scarce City Banter Telegram channel. Hit us up. We'll help you walk through this. And otherwise, enjoy the auction, and we'll catch you soon. Thanks for joining. Bye.